Hey team, it's Walker Deibel, author of Buy Then Build and creator of the Acquisition Lab. A lot of times we wonder to ourselves, like, is this the right time to buy a company? Is it a good time to do an acquisition, right? Let me give you just a couple examples. We were running a session in the Acquisition Lab about a month ago, and we had on the call one of the leading business acquisition lenders in the country. And, throughout the conversation, it kind of ended up turning towards, what happens in the case of a default? Like, how bad am I screwed, right? And these are great questions, and actually a big reason why we run the session, just to give our members the ability to ask anything, while there's not a deal on the table and they're really not working with the lender around a specific deal, but rather just ask all of the sort of peripheral questions that to really understand how this works. The lender, after the call, was sort of talking to me afterwards and was like, a lot of the questions got a little dark, right? Like that was I'm a little concerned about this cohort. At the same time, at the search forum in the Acquisition Lab last week, we had a member who was sort of saying like, hey, listen, I'm seeing all of these valuations get sort of stronger and stronger, as I'm going through the year. It feels like the market is really hot. A lot of these really great companies are selling really quickly. And I'm all of a sudden wondering, like, if I buy something, am I going to be overpaying, for it, right? And is this a bad time to buy? And, is there going to be another, 9/11 or real estate bust or tech bust or whatever else, in the near future? And the thing is that, like, all of these are good questions, right? Like, we need to take a very level-headed approach to what it is that we're doing, all right? I don't want to, belittle the amount of risk that comes with acquiring a company. It's, you need to sort of step up and take responsibility for the outcome of a company. And oftentimes, most likely with a personal guarantee on some percentage, if not a huge percentage of your acquisition, depending on your strategy, okay? The thing is that, like, all of these sessions, whenever they turn to this way, there's nothing that any of us can do to sort of say like, hey, look, you're not going to default, or hey, look, it's a good time to buy a company right now, okay? These are all sort of external things that are happening. Let's talk about the first one for a minute. If we look at SBA loans, okay, over decades, the default rate has maintained under 1.7%. I just got off the phone with one of the leading lenders for business acquisitions in the country, asked him specifically, what is your default rate over the course of your career? He said less than 0.5%. The thing is that if we look at some of the data and research coming out of Stanford, we can start to get our arms around some statistical evidence around what really happens, right? And so you've got about 69% of business acquisitions that, if you take that original investment, not including the ongoing cash flow, you take that original investment, they end up getting, on average, a 33% internal rate of return. 69% of them at least double their money, and 9% of them get a 10x return over a 5-year period, okay? And so there's the balance, which is 29%, okay, are either taking a partial loss or a full loss on their original investment, okay? Here's the point. Don't worry about default. I mean, have an appropriate amount of, there's a 1% chance that I'm going to fail, but don't look there. Look at succeeding. Look at doubling the company, right? That's why you're buying it, okay? And so the thing is that you're a lot more likely to sort of hit a position where your cash flow is tight and you're having a hard time with your cash flow than you are defaulting, okay? The real risk is not in defaulting. It's how do I make sure I'm one of the 70% of companies that's more than doubling my money, okay? In the same regard, in terms of, am I paying too much or anything like that? The thing is that when it comes to buying a company, if you don't have the right mindset, okay, if you don't have the right attitude, you're not cut out for it, okay? In other words, pessimism gets a lot of attention when it comes time for, decisions around, like, what evidence do I have? What empirical evidence do we have? I'm going to predict that the stock market is going to crash next year, okay? If I write that article for Forbes, okay, everyone's going to read it because it applies to everyone. No one's wants to get caught in, a stock market crash, and everyone's got a little bit of money in the stock market and they don't want their money to go away, right? And so they want to read the article to figure out how do I react to this, like, huge pessimism thing that's going to happen. If I say, Hey, listen, the economy is going to boom. And it's going to, whatever it did during the COVID recovery, it's going to go right back to where it was and more over a 14-year period. No one wants to read that article. Okay, it's exciting, but it's not going to get mass market appeal. In other words, everyone wants to hear the pessimistic story because it sounds intelligent. Everyone thinks that the optimistic story is something that is not necessarily based in good judgment. Why is that? Why is that? More importantly, understand that the most successful entrepreneurs have a growth mindset. Carol Dweck came up with this framework of the growth mindset, meaning the world is malleable and I am the one to solve it, okay? I'm not fixed, I can learn this. This is a problem, I can solve this, I'm the one to do it. And so when you acquire a business, okay, I don't want you focused on being completely paranoid about defaulting. I don't want you being completely focused on, am I buying at the wrong time? You can't, no one can time the market, we've learned that, okay? The thing is more, am I the right person to do this? Am I gonna succeed? Can I lead a team? How can I double this business to build a vehicle for wealth for me and my family? How can I work my own time in my own career for my own business, for my own brand, and grow a team, a business, a brand? How can I help my customers? These are the things that are going to solve all of the problems. And so it's not about, are you buying at the right time? It's not about, am I going to default? It's all about focusing on the things that actually matter and doing the things that lead to the outcome you want. Listen, I believe in buying companies is the single greatest opportunity of our generation, okay? And almost half of the small business economy needs to change hands by the end of this decade. If you are interested in acquisition entrepreneurship, if you are interested in wanting to buy a company in the next 6 to 18 months, at the Acquisition Lab, we have built the first do-it-with-you buy-side advisory service. We work in small cohorts of vetted members, go through an instruction period, and then have coaching. We've got a coach on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, every day of the week, with different strengths and weaknesses where we talk about different kinds of things. Please check out acquisitionlab.com and feel free to apply if this sounds like it might be a good solution for you. I look forward to that and talk soon.